Brock, long time no see. Tio Vela, nice to see you too. I think Lord Vin Mazza and Jeremy Soffin are in here. Let me know if you guys are having any problems with the audio. Alright, we got EV, we got Jeff Jam. Rad. Go ahead and start here. Nah, Jeremy, you good. That's why I put out the announcement like really early. Yep, making a thumbnail for one of the videos this weekend. Gotcha. Hopefully everyone here is having a good Thanksgiving, for those of you who do celebrate it. I found background music that is not copyright claimed and I put it into a stream. That's how I did it. Just an easy playlist. I'm using Streamlabs right now. It's an OBS subset, but Patchwork recommended it because my OBS keeps shutting off for some reason in the middle of my streams. How's it going, Ron? Ooh, Black Friday shopping. The wife and I did a little bit of that today. I saw a really good ad for a 40-inch screen smart TV. They were asking $125 for it, so we hopped in the car, got in line around 5, and picked up a couple of them. Very easy experience. Actually, that boy, I will be making several Transformer videos on Generation 1. Hopefully in the near future. It all depends on what else I've got going. I'd say Glimmer was a better supporting character. Bo was okay, but I think his voice actor really needs to take a few more lessons. I'm very well aware when he talks that it's some dude in a booth. But that's just my opinion. Let's see here. EV of the Sea has returned. Well, Jeremy, I'm talking about not just the movie, but the original Transformers cartoon from the 1980s as well. Like the entity as a whole are things I'm going to be covering. No, we got it. There's just no way to really respond to it in chat, Ben. Well, it threw you off because what I'm doing is a video about whether or not Thundercats counts as anime. So what I've done here is, on one side of the thumbnail, I've got different anime characters that had aired before Thundercats. We got Ken Washio from Gatchaman and Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. And the reason for that is you actually had people that worked on both these shows that also worked on Thundercats. I like The Lion King too. I just have no interest in a new one. Oh yeah, I did draw it. Right now I'm just working on inking it. I've got the sketch phase on half of it completed, and the other half I've got to work on. Oh, you're talking about the thumbnail for the stream? No, the thumbnail for the stream, honestly, it asked me for a new image, so I just threw in something I use for a reaction, just to freak people out. So if it weirded you out, congratulations, it did its job. Well, looks like I goofed a little bit on some of this. I accidentally did the black line art on the blue layer, so I'm gonna loosen that and then go back to here. It depends on the song, Jeremy. Yep, the old anime. The thoughts on the Inhumanoids, very ambitious, but short-lived. I don't think the world was quite ready yet for that in children's entertainment. No, you can ask whatever question you want in the stream, that boy. It's not a problem. Megatron turned into a P-38. And the reason why that toy existed was because Japan was very fond of a television program called The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and that character used a Walter P-38. Both are good, Jeremy, just don't put them on mayonnaise. Yes, Eevee, mayonnaise. Dragon Ball does not count, simply because when Dragon Ball came out, Goku was still a kid. So, no, it doesn't count. Pineapple does go on pizza. I will fight any of you to the death about that. But mayonnaise cannot be trusted. Yep, mayo and peanut butter is an actual thing, Evie. My sister actually used to eat it when she was younger. I've only seen the first season, Brock. I liked what I saw. I don't really care for the head writer. He said some really dumb and insensitive things several years ago. But I liked what I saw in the first season. I haven't gotten the chance to check out the second yet. Is mayonnaise an instrument? It can be. I am indifferent on the type and temperature of the water I drink. Yes, butter tastes absolutely better when the bread is toast it. And even better if it's still warm. Water, milk, purple stuff, or Sunny D. Can't have milk. I'm lactose intolerant. Purple stuff, it depends on what the purple stuff is. And Sunny D, it depends on if it's pulp or no pulp. As far as Detective Pikachu, I refuse to see it. I am boycotting it because I wanted Danny DeVito with Pikachu. No worries, Hateful. We're going to be here a little bit. At least an hour, I'm hoping. Peanut butter banana on hot toast is good. Oh boy, real question. No, Brock, I don't think any of us would be, in all honesty. Glad to hear it, Raccoon. I know you had to bail on the last stream, and I don't blame you, man. It was a bit of a mess with all that. Neither. Dr. Pepper is a superior caffeinated drink. I'm waiting for Jeremy's weird question. This should be good. There's a power that comes from deep inside of you. 'Cause every day you're reaching toward the light. And you know there's a long, long way ahead of you. But when you okay, Hateful, this is actually for my Is Thundercats anime question that Depius asked. Here. Well, it depends on what type of love we're talking about, Jeremy. Are we talking about agape, filio? I mean, what type of love are we talking about? Well, I guess it depends. I think all the Thundercats were good, and I think they were good because of what they did. They all had specific niches to fill and specific jobs to do. If you're talking about overall feats, that would be either Liono or Jaga, but other than that, don't really know. Let's see here. I have played all of the Halo games, except for Halo Wars, because I don't care for that. But I have yet to finish the latest Halo game. I was in the middle of playing it, and then life took over, and I have yet to finish it. I don't know, that boy's pretty funny. I'll be happy to share this playlist with you later, Hateful. I don't know, Jeremy. I'd have to know about the... that's what I'm looking for. About the mental capacity of all these different animals and all these different creatures. There's a lot of evidence to say that a lot of other creatures, like some apex predators, dogs, dolphins, are more than capable of that. Yes, Eros. I'm sorry, Evie. I mean, we see what elephants do. So how do we classify that? How do we classify a dog staying at his owner's grave after his owner's passed away? If we can't call that love, what do we call it? Because it's not instinct. Instinct would say to move away from the dead body. Find another pack to cooperate and live with. I don't know what type of armor would fit, simply because I think the Thundercats' aesthetic in terms of armor is more fantasy than it is tech. The only armor they ever showed for the Thundercats in any large-scale media was the Armor of Omens in the 2011 series. And while in some places I dig that design, I feel it just flies a little bit too short. I don't know how Kenshiro versus Liono would work. And the only reason why I say that is Liono has better feats in terms of, you know, strength, durability maybe, but Kenshiro is Fist of the North Star. It all depends on one specific factor. It depends on the human anatomy. We'd have to know how close Thundercat anatomy or Thunderian anatomy is to human anatomy to be able to judge that. Later, Ben. I honestly couldn't tell you, Jonah. And I didn't mean to freak you out the other day when I found you on Twitter after you followed me. I can't change your mind on that. I don't blame you for thinking that. I do not ship. I am purely anti-shipping. I worked for FedEx long enough that I had no desire to have that enter my life in a meaningful way. I know what you mean. That was just a joke. All right, Jeremy, feel free to share it. Pigeon mail. I do live in America, and it was nice. Again, I don't really celebrate holidays, but we basically stayed at home for most of the day. We went and bought a couple of really cheap TVs because there was a really good deal on them. And then we ate. That's been it. Well, that's incorrect, because the Thundercats are not furries. I don't really know if Catra in the new show has fur or not. Some things are not to be known by man. No. Catra is not a Thunderian. If she was, she'd be a Thunderian from the 2011 series, which means she's not really a Thunderian. She's a genetic experiment by Mumra, because she has more of that aesthetic going than she does the original Thundercats. And no, they don't share a universe between them and She-Ra. Hold on. Spinnerella's power is based in magic, so I really don't see what the big fuss is when people want to talk about it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Oh boy, the She-Ra fan film. How'd that go? No, I understood the fart joke, Jonah. I just, ignored it. I'm not big on bathroom humor. You'll have to forgive me. No, Spinnerella only has a couple of lines. She actually shows up, I think, in the second episode. Her and Natasa are the only princesses from the old alliance that are still around. Bird, go! Transmute! I've actually got a Gatchaman helmet around here somewhere for a cosplay I was planning that never got around to. Alright, Jeremy, what is your complaint? Mandora wasn't exactly a character most people liked, to be completely honest with you. That was kind of bizarre. They stuck that in because they thought it'd be interesting to make soap some long lost secret. Well, I mean, honestly, for the first season of Thundercats, the thing that stopped the super powerful demonic devil priest was a mirror, so there's only so much we can complain about, I think. Oh, Gatchamon's absolutely great, especially when you look at it in context to its time. Tatsuo was very much so inspired by Western superheroes at the time. He even did I can't remember if it was a cover for a Japanese release of the Superman comic, or if it was an actual Superman manga. I can't remember which, but he did a really good cover for one of them. No, the Thundercats don't stink, but they just don't use what we commonly call soap. Well, Mumro's reflection scares them away, so when I say mirror, I use that term very loosely. So if you think that's bad, Samurai Raccoon, I remember reading when he was weak against wood. Wood! Prepare for wood and make it good. Worst toy making company, I don't know. Honestly, as much as this might upset some people, I'd say Funko right now. And not because of their pops, although that is an issue. I think they don't do much in the way of quality control. Like the Darkwing Duck I bought from them last year, that thing has all sorts of issues with it. Goodness. Is that Speed Racer? No, this is Ken the Eagle from Gatchaman. Although both were productions of Tatsunoko, which is the closest thing Japan had to Hanna-Barbera at the time. Super 7's bad, but Funko's bad on a wider scale. Oddly enough, their Thundercat line so far has been pretty good. All 4 figures of it. Some Panthros have leg issues, but other than that, he's fine. Correct. Without Tatsunoko, there would be no Super Sentai. Here, and I'll check the chat. All right. Okay, let's see here. Do they have a Snarf Pop? Yes, they do, but he's very, very expensive because he's been vaulted. What about Zoo Ranger do you not understand? Rock? see more internet personality equipment. Can't really 3D print of it because it takes a lot of effort to actually make them look good. They do have Teacut toys that aren't pop. They're from the Savage World line is what they're called. And you can find them right now in GameStop and a lot of comic shops. Because she lost her child when she was very young, and the child was very young. She looks at parents and she sees what she, by all rights, should have had. It was denied. That's why she hates parents. Not only have I heard of the model kits, Jonah Arts, I have the Optimus Prime one, and I'm looking forward to the Megatron one. What are our thoughts on Catadora? I don't ship. I think that people are going to ship whatever they want, and I'm not about to either look it up or question it. I just let them do it. Don't care. Now, since somebody brought up Super Sentai, I think it was Raccoon that did, some fun facts here for you. The first super robot, as we've come to call it here, I believe was Mazinger Z, and that influenced Super Sentai as well as Gatchaman here, and the 1970s Spider-Man. And the first combining animal robot was actually Beast King Go Lion, or as we know him now, Voltron. Can I ship you a Zeta Gundam? Jonah, you should be able to walk into your local hobby town and find one. You don't have a Hobbytown USA anywhere near you? The heck? The closest is 5 miles. Get an Uber! Goodness. Okay, best He-Man playset is we take all these into account, would be the classics. Castle Grayskull. That would be, bar none, the best He-Man playset. It's not the original one, mind you. The classics one was made a few years ago. It usually retails for around $300 right now. Was neat, but I think it was actually a different playset that got appropriated into He-Man. Aliens, yay or nay, as in, do I believe them? I don't know. I think that's not something I concern myself about saying. Just checking out some stuff here real quick. I also want to save this. I would be happy to review Saint Seiya Jonah Arts, but there's two things it has to do first. Number one, It has to be actually put out in full here in the States legally. And 2, they've got to dub it, because I cannot just sit there and watch a cartoon or anything right now, because I'm always so freaking busy. Even when I was watching the new She-Ra, I was doing other things in the middle of it. But those 2 things, I'd absolutely love to do Saint Seiya. I don't really know if there's any campfire things about my area. I've only lived in this area for a little under a year now. I'll be sure to turn it down next time Jason the Wheeled Warriors comes around, Jeremy.
Now, if you want a Skeletor impression, you have to remember I am not nice, I am not fun, and I am taking you to Horde Prime.
Well, Jonah, I'm not bilingual. I don't know Spanish. That is true, Samurai Raccoon, because neither Voltron toy line in the 80s put out any properly sized row beasts. Same Sailor, I don't know. Sailor Moon has the ability to completely shut down or rewrite the universe in her image. That's some OP craziness right there. No scary stories my parents would tell me. My old man saw enough war to know to keep his mouth shut. Hello, Sister Hipster. Well, yes, you are correct. A world without Skeletor would be boring. Now, it's actually been theorized at this point that Skeletor is more popular than He-Man. And that his popularity is simply because he's a great for internet memes. That's really it. There was a Facebook page that made him really popular several years ago. It was called Skeletor with Love or something like that. They would make inspirational memes with Skeletor. It was really fascinating. Between Grizzler and Beastman, I don't know. They're both pretty worthless, but Beastman was the only one I think that ever got completely kicked out of his team for a while. Yes, I watched Sister Hipster's video too. She looking at the boys. That'll be different. Here. I love the 2002 He-Man. I just really wish they would have continued it. Is the cake a lie? Only if you didn't bake it. And I would hope you did.
Just do it, even if you're a skull-y human body. Meh!
Getting a Skeletor toy line. That had to make for some very interesting battle scenarios when you were a kid, man. I'd imagine you're probably watching Ninja Turtles like, when's the skeleton guy show up? He ain't showed up yet. Let's see here. Skeletor had a lot of personality. A lot of it, and most of that was due to Alan Oppenheimer not wanting to play him like a stereotype, like say the Dick Dastardly type. He wanted Skeletor to have more life to him, honestly. Yes, Evie, there were plans going forward to introduce She-Ra, Hordak, the Evil Horde, all of that, and then it all went to pieces because Mattel, again, could not handle the simple job of properly doling out their wares. You'd get entire case shipments that are nothing but different He-Man and Skeletor variants and none of the other characters. And collectors and children, none of them wanted to put up with that. So the toy line sank. Okay, so I'm done with half of the thumbnail in terms of line art. I'm of course going to have to come back and color it, but now I have the other half. Let me go ahead and put these out. I don't need that no more. Really basic sketching here on this side. Go ahead and remove all this. There we go. They have a couple of toys that are been released as collector's items by Super 7 for the new She-Ra. However, they are very lacking in articulation, and they are really bad. I mean, good lord, they are bad. Okay, gonna delete that too. Yes, 2011 Lion-O is going to be in this discussion, and so will the 2011 series. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is what character should I put behind this version of Lion-O. I'm probably going to put Naruto here. I'm going to put him there for a couple reasons. Number one, he's a good shonen show that most people understand. And two, the animation director for the original Thundercats intro actually did the animation directing on Naruto. So I'm probably going to put him there, but I'm trying to figure out who I want to make the background character here. This guy. Because I don't know yet. I don't really plan on getting any merchandise from the new She-Ra. I'm probably just gonna watch it because I need more money to buy Transformers with. Hateful disapproves of Naruto. I'll tell you what, Hateful, you tell me what character should be behind Lion-O here, other than Naruto. Who else should be here? You tell me. I haven't seen the latest series or latest season of Legendary Defender, but I like what I've seen so far. I think the show did a really good job of, doing what they're supposed to. They were initially planning on doing a show that reminds them of the original show that they remember as a kid, and they did a good job of that. Yes, Jeremy, it is about the card game where people attack each other while yelling attack names because of the Meiji Restoration. Let's see here. I'm looking for something in between the 2000s to 2010s. So unfortunately, no All Might. Aang does not count as an anime character. Yes, Sister Hipster, she does not have brushable hair, and that is a sin. I know this. Feel free to make a suggestion anytime, Brock. Mostly shonen, Hateful Eight. And no, I will not be putting Goku in here for two reasons. Number one, he doesn't really fit the theme of the video I'm doing, and two, I can't stand Dragon Ball Z. Correct. He was late 80s, early 90s, Samurai Raccoon. Brock, that is still an older property. Oh my god. I'm not gonna put Sergeant Brock back there. Doggone it. He'd be too small, he wouldn't fit in. I'm not... Okay, when I say anime, let me be very clear. We're going to cover this in the video. Conceptualized, produced, and distributed initially in Japan. And I'm certainly not putting Peter Griffin in this, because my love of Family Guy faded a good 18 years ago. Actually, not that long ago, but you know what I mean. I mean, I guess I could use Luffy. Are you saying this to Luffy, or are you saying this to Cory in the house? I'm not putting. Doggone it, Jeremy. Give you Mr. Krabs. You give me a second. I'll give you Mr. Krabs. Here you go, Jeremy. Here's the Mr. Krabs. Meaty claws. You know, it still kills me. That's the same guy who does Lex Luthor from the Superman animated series and the Kurgan from Highlander. That kills me. Alright, well, I've still got Lionel and Naruto to work through, so we will revisit that shortly. We'll come back to that in a moment and see if maybe we can make a decision on this matter. Actually, I drew that rather for a friend of mine who wondered how the handsome Squidward face would work if it was Mr. Krabs, so I took a crack at it and came up with that terrible abomination. Make sure I get the space right. Guardian Angel. I haven't seen that one, but I've heard of it. And I'm not... Doggone it! Is SpongeBob an anime? No, it's not. I will heavily consider it. What anime character best fills a sci-fi spot? Honestly, I don't even know if there was much in the way of sci-fi anime other than Ghost in the Shell, maybe. The standalone complex series, at least. I am not putting Amuro in this. I will not put Proto Shinji in this. No, ma'am. The only Gundam character from the original series, only two that are valid, are Ramba Rao and Bright Noah. And make no mistake, if I put either of them in this image, it would be on the other side of the image. You're talking about Akira, Jeremy. Sex appeal? No, because I think we've proven that my attempts at drawing women are usually very bad. And the only sexy thing I've done recently was my sexy Mantenna. And it's on Twitter, and I think it scarred a few people. Correct, the inventor of the Bright Slap. Well, I mean, you asked about him, Jeremy. The guy from the anime movies, and the guy gets super psychic powers. Isn't that Akira? That's just 90s. I'm looking for more of the 2000s. Maybe so, but She-Ra isn't really what I consider sexy. I just consider her, you know, attractive woman. Different than being completely sexy. Especially in the anime aspect. Good lord. Tatsuo! Kaneda! I did a drawing of Setsuna once. Last Inktober. It's very special. And by special, I mean needs a self-hugging jacket. Alright, let me go ahead and turn this down. This should be good enough. There we go. Is that any better this time around, Jeremy? I don't remember that anime. That might also be outside of my wheelhouse. I mean, if we want to go full, you know, obscure, but now not so much, I could always put Baki Hanma in the background. You're more than welcome to present a challenge. Yes, I know they had it in one of the OVAs when they did the test pilot simulation. I have. I've seen build fighters and build fighters try and the island thingamahoozit. Bleach came out in the 2000s, and also, fun fact, same person who did the intro to Thundercats and the animation directing on Naruto did the same for Bleach. Boy, you look too plain. Why do you look too plain? Is it because you was a young boy? Probably. I reject your challenge. I do remember Code Lyoko was a French animation project. Ichigo's actually pretty basic in facial construction. I may very well do that, Sister Hipster. Right now, I doubt we're going to get done with everything here in this stream. I might do one tomorrow. It all depends on scheduling, as all issues come down to in my life. We got a long neck. That's such a long neck, long neck. Put the turn A in? I'm sorry, I don't know if I can draw such a beautiful mustache. Was it horrible, Raccoon? Or was it amazing? Oh, and good night, Jeremy. I know I rejected Brock's request because if I wanted to make art that made fun of somebody, I mean, I need better targets. Aw. I'm waiting for your last words. Michigo Ichigo, doggone it. Do I have to tell your kids, or can I tell everyone's kids? Unfortunately, Jonah, I have not seen G-Rico, or G-Reco, for a myriad of reasons. One of which is, I think Tomino just needs to be put on an island somewhere where he doesn't have to deal with human beings, and I think that would make everybody happy, including and especially him. I'm gonna move this boy's face down. His face too high up. Good night. unfortunately not, because Space Dandy was after Thundercats aired, the 2011 series. We don't talk about G. Savior, Brock, just like we don't talk about a lot of things. He's not misanthropic, Brock. He's just an old man. He's an old man that a lot of people touted his work as being that of a genius, and he's had to try to withhold that, or try to hold up that standard, that false standard people have built for him over the years, and I think it's taken more of a toll on him than he'll ever admit. Because that wouldn't be enough, Hateful. We have to have a crusade. We must expunge them. Samurai Champloo, that might be a contender. Maybe put Jean up there. Ooh. Alright, angry cat person. Let's see if I can get your hair done. That ain't right. There we go. Gunbuster. Oh, man. I've got some worries about that anime, but I'll keep that to myself. Fantastically animated, though. I'll give him that. At least for some of the Sakuga scenes. There we go. Oh. Fun fact here, real quick. Good night, Hateful. Fun fact here. When I did a Lion-O 2011 cosplay, and I did it for about a year or so, there was, I think his name was Squall, the Final Fantasy character. All you really need to get the hair is that wig and trim it. And it's the exact same type of hair. Oh yeah, Redline was also really good. And I do love me some Mazen Kaiser. However, if I had to choose best super robot, I have to make no other choice other than that of the ultimate shape of courage, the god of destruction, the king of braves, Genesik Gaogaigar. Gurren Lagann was pretty good too. That was a show that was definitely a love letter to old super robot shows. Alright, so I think the line art for that Lion-O is done. As far as the secondary rough sketch. Really wish that series had been finished dubbed. Such a good series. I gotta look up Naruto for references. Blonde-haired kid. Oh, trust me, I remember Gurren Lagann. Remember it vividly. Ah, Jeb Jam, you found me, huh? Finally. You need to tweet Jeb Jam. Oh, see here. Good night, that boy. We could do Kamina. See here. All right. So if we're using Kamina for the sci-fi aspect, who would we use to do the fantasy aspect as opposed to the martial art one? Who do you recommend? If we're not going to go with Naruto at all, we'll go with that. So let me know what you think, and we'll work with that. For now, since it's been made clear that Kamina is the desired person up here, we'll go with that. Jonah, I think you have a Saint Seiya addiction. Not really going to use Guts here. Although, I might, now that I think about it, I might use Guts simply because I can't really think of any other fantasy character, huh? I know Escaflowne was 90s, same with Magic Knight Rayearth. Both really, really good, by the way. Let's see here. I'm going to want to make him also really thin-jawed. Because that's how anime do in the 2000s. Oh, I do. I see how it is. You know what armor design really reminds me of Saint Seiya that I really like? Garo. Move that down a little. Go ahead and shoot, Jonah. Any question you want to ask, feel free to. I think Bleed counts more for Supernatural, honestly. I would like to talk about Death Battle's Lion-O versus Goku. I would also like to, let's see, what was it? There was another one, but I can't remember which one it was. But I also like to tear into game theory about some of the other nonsense that they've said. Specifically, I think their lightsaber versus elite sword video was just the dumbest thing ever, as well as their For Honor comparison. It's very clear that Matt Pat will go out of his way to go do goofy things like sit in a fighter jet or do some sort of weird Mission Impossible sort of thing, but actually going to a dojo or a HEMA school where they'll show you what's actually going on with weapons, somehow beyond him. So, tearing into him sometime too. It might, Joan. Put that a little further to give myself some breathing room here. Let's see here. You're right about that, Samurai Raccoon. Inuyasha was in the 2000s. I mean, I could use him. This show did continue into there until it got its completion. I think it, 2011, 2007, somewhere around there. Is Hellsing a fantasy? Yeah, nah, horror really doesn't count as fantasy. If we were going there, man, like, do a lot of different things. Speaking of Supernatural, apparently Panthro had a cameo on one of the most recent episodes. See, I think it was the Brave Star Orchestra or the Thundercat one. Right now, though, it's Jace the Wheeled Warriors. I think they do that when there's not much information about a character due to one series. Because even with the Gundam, they had to look at a couple of different variations of it to decide what its abilities were. Because the original series from 1976, or 79 rather, didn't really have much in the way of feats that they could really measure. I'm not really... Oh, Eevee, you're talking about the Supernatural... Yeah. Panthro action figure came to life and whooped on somebody in one episode of Supernatural. One of the more recent episodes, actually. Granted, I had to go this. I had to find this out secondhand. I don't watch Supernatural, so. There's specifically the Mezco Panthro from a few years back that now goes for 300. So take that as you will. Okay, so we've got Lioconvoy, we've got Kamina. Now we just got to figure out who we're going to put here. Witch Hunter Robin. That still sounds a lot more supernatural. Take it easy, Brock. Fairy Tale. Let's find out what Fairy Tale is. 2009, that might fit. I think that's what we call an amalgamation, Jonah. But here's the thing. When you measure out Goku compared to any version of Superman, he's not going to be able to keep up. So that's the problem there. I do know that tip. I very rarely utilize it in live streams simply due to, you know, the fact that it's usually just throwaway stuff. But here, let's go ahead and see what that looks like. How do I do that? There we go. Yeah, everybody still looks fairly suitably pissed. But yeah, that would make Goku an amalgamation. And usually in versus battles, that has to be stated up front. Alright, so we're going to go about this the most democratic way possible. You can power scale them, sure, but again, when you're trying to compare or trying to pit uh, Goku against Superman, it's just not going to be a fair fight on the end of Goku. He just doesn't have the ability to be able to counter anything Superman's got, and that's the biggest issue you're going to run into. Okay, so for fantasy, I have the category for that under Natsu from Fairy Tail, Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, and I've got Inuyasha. So, here's what we're going to do. I know you guys can't see it, and if I were to put it in the window, it would probably cause issues, so I'm going to use wheeldecide.com. Let's see here. Modify a wheel. Let's make it a 30-second spin. And we're going to spin that wheel. So again, those are horrors. Alright, so we're going to decide between these three. I'm going to click on this wheel and the wheel will tell us. I'm sure you can hear it loud and clear. And the winner is Edward Elric. So, though short he may be, on the image he go. Wheel of Morality, turn, turn, turn. Show us a lesson that we should learn. Move Eric over here. Good. You already got the short end of the stick. Drink milk. Funny thing is, I don't know if lions can, but I know one of the worst things you can give, like a kitten, is milk. Like cow milk. it actually gives them almost lethal levels of diarrhea. You know, these aren't as they stand compared to each other, so it's okay. The only ones that are scaled compared to each other in height and width would be the Lionos. There we go. Yes, goat's milk is correct. There's a lot of anime I haven't seen, so... In fact, there's a lot of anime I own that I have yet to watch. It's kind of vexing. Stuff like Outlaw Star, You're Under Arrest, stuff like that I own. I've never watched any of it. I also have All of Tsubasa. It is not looking right. Doesn't help that Elric is one of those characters that I've, number one, never drawn before, number two, kind of outside of what my normal comfort range would be. How's it going, Storm? Just should not have drawn the hair before everything else. That's what's killed me. It's fine though. I can work through it. Correct. I like drawing big buff dudes. And despite what some people will tell you, it's not all about a masculine power fantasy. It's actually just because muscles are really fun to draw. Everything's been going pretty good for everybody, Stormblitz. How about you? Well, the thing is, Samurai, it's not so much buffness when it comes to warrior attributes. You'd want a solid core, but you wouldn't want to have all that defined muscle that, say, He-Man does. Even Samurai themselves, and I use that as an example because I know of your art style, I know of your screen name there. They had thicker cores, they had muscular arms, maybe not as super defined, but they were geared more towards practicality as opposed to show muscles that you see on a lot of more modern superheroes. Actually, Lionel in the original series, his eyes are red, and in the newer 2011 series, they're blue. Fun fact, though, despite the fact that the Thundercats often have a slitted iris, big cats don't. Theirs is rounded. Feel Aqua, you're right. There we go. A little bit better. It's a little bit more natural than what I was originally going with. Pumira did in the original. Her eyes were spotted, or slitted rather, as opposed to circular, just like everybody else's were. Talk about the iris, the whole cat eye thing. I know Retro Blasting touched on that for their Thundercat panel at Dragon Con. They never dropped the... Oh, you're talking about in the 2011 series? I don't know. I don't know why they never brought in. They didn't bring a lot of things into the 2011 series. Part of that might be due to the fact that it got canceled. I'm not really completely sure on that one. Alright, so here's the lineup we got so far. What do you guys think? So mad. What? Thank you, Evie. Here, I have a message on Discord. Hateful. Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting how the art's evolved over the years, mostly to follow trends, I'd imagine. Alright, so we got about 15 minutes left here before I think we should cut it. I think 2 hours is a pretty good stream, don't you guys? I'll try to get as much done between that time. I'll save it just in case. I actually like the blue eyes for Lionel. I think in the original, all the Thundercats had the same color eyes, so I think it makes them a little more distinct, which I'm fine with. One thing I really liked about the original series is, in, you know, a lot of shows, like even He-Man, you know, He-Man was one of those, the chosen one characters, right? The sort of power was his, and the sorcerers waited for him to be born and then waited for him to be ready for it. In Thundercats, Lion, there was no perception of the chosen one with Lion, not in the original. He was just the Lord of the Thundercats, and it was part of his job to do these things. Sword of Omens didn't just work for him, it worked for anybody with good intentions, and that's something I really enjoyed. Kind of the whole, the common man can be the hero idea. What would I have done different? I would have overhauled everything. I would have overhauled everything, and I'm not saying that to try to upset people in my chat here that are fond of the 2011 series. I think they got just a little bit too far from the original series in terms of concept. I would have played it a little closer to the vest. I would have made it a grand space opera. I would have kept Thundera as its own planet. I would have kept Plundar as its own planet. Mumra would have just been an ancient sorcerer. He would not have been a genetically engineered scientist Frieza. Correct, the Sword of Omens is not the same as the Matrix of Leadership. Especially when you look at the comics. Goodness, the Matrix of Leadership can be corrupted. It was terrible. That's why we don't let jerks like Thunderwing get a hold of anything anymore. And a happy Thanksgiving to you, A-Plant94. Glad you could join us in chat. Granted, I have my own ideas of what I'd do for a Thundercat series, but that would require, one, for me to be in the animation industry, which I'm not yet. And two, that would require anybody letting my hands on the series. It's one reason why I'm hoping to get into Don Bluth's animation school and maybe even work on the movie for Dragon Slayer, depending on how good my skills would be. Because that would be a massive plus on a resume of any sort. Just realized I made his ears just a wee bit too big. Sorry, I was probably mumbling a little bit to myself there for a bit, Sister Hipster. Well, you see, Evie, either I'm hoping that one day I'll work on my own Thundercat series, or Warner Brothers makes so many bad decisions they devalue it as a whole and I can just buy it cheap. Either way works for me. Oh, by the way, since we got at least 2 people in here that are interested in stuff like that, I want to let you both know that I'll be pretty soon announcing a contest, another one. I've got a couple of duplicates in, like I said in that one video, of the UK annuals, and they're hardbacks for the Thundercats line. And I'm going to be putting out a contest where people can win that. Now, but when you both will put in work for it. You would have made Bengali a villain, huh? Why is that? Okay. Okay. In the original series, they don't go into his origin as far as Mumra goes. And in the original series, they said they didn't do that because they wanted, just keep a villain simple. But in the Wildstorm comics, they gave him an origin that fits in, where he was originally an Egyptian sim priest, or a Egyptian funeral priest, and he sought power via the ancient spirits of evil. They gave him that power, but made his body necroptic. So I'm thinking somewhere around there, Sister Hipster, but I've got some stuff I need to do before I even try that. In the 2011 series, Mumra was some sort of like Frieza-esque space scientist that created all the different races, and most of which you see running around on Third Earth. It's really bizarre. Now, here's what I would have done with Bengali. If I had full reign and I had to do my own show, here's what I would have done. Now, this is going to sound really weird, especially coming right off of She-Ra here, and I think that in general, you can create characters that they can signal to certain things or certain people, and there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. I don't think She-Ra necessarily did it in a bad way when they did do it, but here's what I'd do. Fun fact, and let's see if anyone you can answer it without going to Google. Are white tigers natural in nature more often than not? Bengal specifically. Correct. Now, Couchboy, why are they not normal in nature? You remember why? Correct, Sister Hipster. White Bengal tigers are that color due to excessive inbreeding. So, let's see here. Correct, that all falls into the fact that they're inbred Couchboys. So, here's the thing. We have people in human society, in the real world, who, unfortunately, their genetic lineage maybe due to things that are unfortunate. We have, and I'm going to be really blunt here, and I'm not trying to cause issues. I'm not trying to be edgy here. It's not really my MO. There are people in the world that are products of rape. They are products of abusive, incestuous relationships. And what I would do with Bengali is he would be a white Bengal tiger. I'm not going to tell anybody. I wouldn't tell anyone the exact reason why, but he'd be something of a social outcast on Thundera. He would be the best blacksmith ever. He would be a very large, stout character, because Bengal tigers are pretty big boys. And he'd be quiet. He'd have a lot of reverence and a lot of respect for Liono. But he would be one of those characters that when he does do something, it's very important. And that's what I would do with Bengali. I would make him a character that maybe those with not the best lineage could maybe identify a little bit with and find a little bit of hope in. No, albinism, Storm Blitz. So you want to see a really good case of that, you ought to look up white lions. And I don't mean the band. I mean actual white lions. They're really pretty and really fascinating, but unfortunately they don't tend to breed very easily. Thick. Yes, he would be. He would be physically the biggest of the Thundercats. Partially because the biggest big cat in modern times we have on record, although pound for pound usually a Siberian is bigger, but record setting a Bengal was the biggest. We got to keep in mind, Thundercats is what the what most liberal media now calls diverse. It was diverse well before that was a major push. You had characters that were disabled. You had characters of different cultures completely. You had the Thundercats living on a world that wasn't theirs. And instead of doing what a lot of people would have done in that situation, taking over, because they had superior weaponry, superior technology, they integrated and they protected the people. They protected the weak people around them. And that's, I think, what we should all strive to do. I don't really know if they're born blind or if that's just a genetic thing that occasionally happens. I'm not really sure. I would not use a Liger character because Ligers are not in any way, shape, or form something even close to natural. They are. I love how they look. Don't get me wrong. I love the aesthetic of a Liger, but I have a great deal of sadness and pity for them because of what they are. They're a completely unnatural creature. They have severe arthritic issues. They could never survive in the wild. They are susceptible to many diseases. And this is one of those instances that I think God has very little pity for in terms of humanity, because we didn't have to do that, and we created this creature. And God is very, very fond of animals. He makes that very clear in the Bible. So I think that humanity is going to have a lot to answer for that they're not expecting to. So I have a lot of pity for Ligers. I have a lot of special love for them, but I wouldn't put one in the series simply because of that fact. I think that when we do have Ligers, number one, we should prosecute whatever douchebag made them, and do our best to take care of them. Not the weirdest thing I've read in a fan fiction, Evie. I had one person on the old message board before I got banned would write these really, really freaky freaking fan fictions where Lionel's dad was eaten by the mutants and all this other really weird crap that made everybody look at him sideways. And yet, I got banned and he didn't. I'm going to go ahead and finish Edward here, and then we'll cut it off in a minute. Well, I think, I don't even know if it's media that does that. I think that's just inherent human nature. None of us want whatever group we belong to look bad. I'm Hispanic. I really don't like seeing in the news when another Hispanic commits a crime. I know it's a thing, but I don't have to like it, but I know it exists. And I think sometimes the response to that is just in the wrong direction. Be honest with our flaws. Be honest with who we are as a people. It's the only way we're going to grow. And I'd write the Thundercats to have their own individual flaws. I don't know R.D. Rivero, unfortunately. I never cared enough to learn the man's name. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and finish inking this. Now, I would also probably try to make Pumira more of a Native American-ish character, especially with the whole healing aspect that belonged to the character originally. It also adds some tracking. I'd also probably have the newer Thundercats involved in the anointment trials. Oh, I'm not going to look him up, Couch Boy. I promise you this. By the end of the stream, I'm not going to remember who that is. Kamino, you turned out a lot better than I thought you would. Never drawn you before. Check the chat in just a moment, no worries. Thank you, Catch Boys. From the reference material that I saw, his neck was pretty thick. You generally want to keep necks around the same usually general width as the cheekbones. I didn't hear with Liono because he's a scrawny boy. But Elric, despite his height, he's a pretty fit little dude. Do not let his height fool you. He will kick you right in the nads. You know, honestly, I have to admit, one of my issues here, especially with art, on this type of platform, I have Clip Studio Paint, bought, not pirated. I have Copic markers. I have a Scenic 12WX. I have all this technology, and I don't know how in the world to utilize it. I know it's extremely powerful. I know I can do a lot with it, but I don't know what to do with it. Like, I see people like Genzomon and all these other people. They're able to draw some amazing stuff, especially in coloring. Good God, they're great at coloring. And here I am, like, the red goes here. I feel like a monkey with a supercomputer half the time. Well, in Stormblitz in the original cartoon, there were very few humans in Thundercats. They were either spaceborne entities at that time, or they were living at the bottom of the ocean, or they were the warrior maidens. It all varied. Alright, time to go hard line red. Also, I'd like to go ahead and say that Steam Labs is apparently 100% better than the OBS I was using. We have not had a single internet connectivity issue, and we haven't had a single streaming issue. Good night, Stormblitz. All I know is if I keep drawing all these handsome Squidward type things, the government's going to intervene sooner or later for my own good. Alright, where did I put... There it is. Okay, so on that layer. Alright, let's take a step back. Alright. So what do you guys think so far? Yes, Binderzal, I draw. I try to do most of my own thumbnails here in the modern day. Alright, well, I'll go ahead and keep the chat open for a couple more minutes. If you guys have any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them before we go today. Couchboy, this is going to be for my Thundercats Is It Anime video that was requested by someone I know. I'm going to move this over a little bit so you can see who else is here. There you go. Yep, pretty much, Evie. I would, Couch Boys, I would. But those are the type of things that I would only feel comfortable if I paid them to do so. And I'm not quite at that yet. I'm not even to 1,000 subs yet. Nope, all the way to the left you have Kinshiro from Fist of the North Star. Good night, Trin. Chibi Buto, you came in like right before I'm done. You turd. Here, I'll let you see what I'm working on. Yeah, too far. There we go. Ah. Well, Couch Boys, you're more than welcome to watch it. I think it's on maybe Crunchyroll or Hulu. I can't remember which. It's on some streaming platform right now. Freaking Chibi Buto come in at the middle of the end of the freaking stream. What's up, guys? Am I late? All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut loose for the night. I think we've done enough for now. Go ahead and God, that thumbnail. Let's get this going. Control room. Bye-bye, everyone. I will see you next time.